When you're starting a new craft or creative project, are you the kind of person who maps everything out, triple checks your supplies and builds a rock solid plan? Or are you the kind of person who dives straight in with a vague sense of optimism? I think I'm the first one. You may be asking yourself, what is Jason doing in this space? What is this space and why is he here? Well, you may have seen the recent one video I did where it's forged in fire. So those ones, along with a bunch of the other ones that I've been creating recently, I need to take some photos because I'm hoping to sell them. So I've been on the lookout for somewhere that really inspires me and gets those creative juices flowing. Welcome, HIRAETH Gallery in Llandovery, Wales. If you haven't seen videos before, I used to live here in Llandovery. We live about 25 minutes, half an hour away from here now, but myself and Alicia used to live here, and one of my favourite shops, if not my favourite shop, in Llandovery is this one. And the main reason for that is how it's been designed. The set design, interior design, retail design, I'm not sure the correct term for it, but there's something about the space when you come in. The smell, the lighting, the way natural things as well as props and different bits and pieces as well as the products themselves have been arranged to create a kind of escaping feeling. You know, it helps you escape within the environment, and every single time I come in here it often does get moved around and changed, and it's just a space that, yeah, it really inspires me. And because of the products and what's on sale here as well as the props and things, it would make a perfect backdrop for some of the ones. So very kindly, a lady that runs HIRAETH Gallery, Sarah Armstrong, has said that, has welcomed me and welcomed us to make this video and to do some photography today. So over the next 2 days, what I'm going to be doing with Sarah is taking some photographs of not only my ones, but also some product shots for what Sarah sells in here and on her Etsy page. And I'm going to try and learn a bit more from Sarah for myself and also hopefully for yourselves, how she approaches setting a scene, designing that scene from starting with an empty space that has no life, has no story, has no character, and building on that, layering on that to end up with something like this. So without further ado, let me introduce Sarah Armstrong of HIRAETH Gallery.
Hi, I'm Sarah Armstrong. I'd like to welcome you to HIRAETH Gallery here in Llandovery. You can probably tell that I may not be native here. I'm actually from the US, Oregon on the West Coast. And I came over here not specifically to do anything other than be an artist. But long story short, here I am with a shop downstairs from our house. And I guess today we're gonna look around at it and see what you think. My shop is many things, maybe many things to many people. It essentially is a place where I display my art, but I've also brought in a lot of other interesting things, such as teas and incense that I make, plants and tarot decks, jewelry and greeting cards, stuff to decorate your house. And then I have a whole line, a whole apothecary with organic herbs and tinctures and other health and beauty aids and other good stuff like that. Good place to come in and explore. Initially, when we came here, it wasn't my design to have a shop, but then we found this house. We live upstairs, and it's a perfect shop space. It needed a massive remodel. My husband did that and did an amazing job. And I think I wanted to create the sort of shop where I would want to go, which means maximalist for sure. Lots of details, lots of interesting things. And then a showcase for my art, really. And I do all sorts. I do painting, which you'll see around the shop, but I make jewelry and I make sun catchers and I make fairy dolls, spirit dolls, and yeah, a good place to show lovely houseplants and definitely an environment that when someone walks in the door, I'm very delighted when they say, "Oh, it smells so good in here." Yes, and then they're wowed by what they can see too, and they browse around because there's so much to see. And I like that. I like to have the music. And most often, my most pleasing thing is when people say, you know, I came in here and I'm just so relaxed now. It's like, yes, good. That's what I like.
If it's okay, I suppose, should we start maybe over by the front door?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
I think when you walk into a shop, it's important to be captured right inside the door in some way. One of the things I do is I change this up maybe a little bit more often than some other areas. I also am a big aromatherapist type person, and so I usually have something that smells great by the door, which would be like these passive essential oil diffusers. People say, oh, it smells so good in here. And it's like, well, it's largely because of those, although I don't burn anything or do anything like that. And the other thing is real eye-catching, and this would also apply for the window. People look in the window, they see I've got a million cards. Note to self, even if I'm closed, to come in here and check out the cards. Otherwise, it's just sort of an experience. The teas are against the wall, and that often draws people in. They walk in and they go straight to that, and then along the way, they may see other things, other details. But definitely, the first run is straight toward the teas.
When you first started, did you own a lot of the furniture, the sort of base furniture, or did you have to buy it? And again, if so, were you looking in certain places or out of certain materials or anything?
We had nothing, and we hit the charity shops, and a friend of mine who paints furniture, or used to paint furniture, now she paints paintings, and they're amazing, Elaine, had a bunch of furniture that she wasn't going to paint. So I bought a lot of that from her, and then I painted it instead in various ways. Some pieces of furniture didn't get painted and they just are used the way they are. My husband built the bits that fit in, you know, to break it up a little bit.
And then you've also clearly got bits and pieces, sort of, for example, like this here, that have been added and they haven't been built exactly for that space.
Correct.
But they fit, like I say, as opposed to some that obviously, I guess, fit. So what would you say, is there a percentage of how much has been just fitted and how much has been purpose built?
I would say time and time again, oh my God, it fit perfectly just because. That's happened more often than not. This, for example, it's like, will this fit here? Oh yes, exactly, it fits here. Now someday this will be a doorway and I'll have to find another spot for that, but never mind. Mostly stuff just fit great, it just fit, yeah, by fluke. And then my husband is able to retrofit other things to make it work.
Lighting, that was something that your husband put in, is that right?
Yeah, and I definitely wanted the aesthetic of old-fashioned in appearance, but not old-fashioned in effectiveness. You need really good lighting in display to show stuff off, and these are great because they can turn around and they can move and various things. So when I rearrange the shop, I can rearrange the lighting too to make sure that everything's well enough illuminated. And I can, turn some off. They have dimmers. I can change it a lot. In fact, when we have events in here, oftentimes we'll turn some of them off or dim it down because it's a lot of light.
And when you're creating, did you think of the space as a whole space, or are you trying to think of it as almost like mini rooms?
I'm a big gardener, and one of the things I like about gardening is garden rooms. So I do like a little mini environment throughout the shop. And as the shop has developed, it's more and more, same with same. When I first opened, it was kind of like, oh my God, everything's everywhere. And people were pretty overwhelmed because there was just so much to look at. Now I have it honed down a little bit more, and I think that that's more effective. I do change it quite a lot, although that being said, this particular setup is working really well. It gives me a big open area over here to do other things as I may need to. Easy traffic, people with wheelchairs can negotiate through here, and so this layout's working pretty well.
Okay, so let's take a step further. So we've done the base things. I think this space over here is quite a nice example. The depth, the height, and the mixture of materials, big and small, and also I'm just a big fan of glass. So you've put down, for example, you've got your table and you've got your furniture that's on this space. How do you approach then layering on top of that?
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of creating a cohesive unit. You can come over here, and this is all having to do with incense. There's a number of kinds. Here's bulk kind, here's resins, here's smudge sticks, all related. Here's ways to burn them, here's incense burners. It's all kind of related. And I find that works better than the giant, mix of everything. Having a little bit of a theme, but not so much. I mean, like I have my Oracle decks all over the place because I have so many. So that's a theme that goes store-wide. If I had a bigger space, maybe I'd put them all together, but in the meantime, they just go everywhere. And the art goes everywhere it can fit.
You did mention off camera to me that you have had some experience doing window displays. Do you know of any tried and tested methods? So for example, always using an odd number of things because it just looks more pleasing to the eye rather than even numbers. Like anything like that. For someone like myself or someone that either, whether they're setting up a shop, whether it be just a stall, because a lot of the people that maybe watch this might be natural crafters that make a stall, or someone that, like we're going to get into later on, you know, setting up a design for a photograph. Are there any, like say, tips or tricks that you would give to people?
Well, the thing that you mentioned, symmetry isn't that interesting, mostly in a display. So balance is, though, so you may want asymmetry, but in a balanced way. I mean, you can have stuff real uniform, and that is a look, but for this kind of a place, it's much more of a natural wander, like you'd be in the woods and you would find this beautiful plant and that beautiful tree, and it's more that kind of experience that I prefer. And another reason why I have all the plants in here is to bring a little bit of nature inside as much as I can.
Excellent. The plan now is that we're gonna totally mess the shop up, bring all my kit in, make a big mess, and hopefully get ready to take some nice pretty pictures of wands and some different products.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's make a mess.
Yeah. Before I show you the scene that we've just created, I thought I'd show you this mood board, the mood table. I don't know if you're the same as myself, but unlike my lovely wife, Alicia, when she thinks of something and comes up with a creative idea, her Pinterest board can be up there. You know, if she's thinking, what will that color look with that color? What will that chair look in like this environment? It's up there. And we often have debates where she can't get it, why I just can't see that. It's got to be in front of me. Otherwise, I just can't visualize what that will look like. This is what we've done today. Hello. Who have we got here?
Dearie.
Dearie. Hello, Dearie. Say hello to Dearie, everyone. Can you see Dearie? So, where was I? What we've done to create this is some props that I've bought, some of the ones, natural crafts that I've made, and some different bits and pieces, as well as some stuff from around the shop. The thought behind this is that the character who would have these wands, what they would have on their table. And within that, what I'm thinking about is color, texture, shape, what the products are themselves. Because yes, there's going to be some kind of creative license. You know, yeah, it's not going to exactly look like someone's actual desk. But at the same time, we want it to actually have some kind of reason to why we're putting different bits in different places. So that's why having all of this out here has really helped to just visualize that and start to place things together and colors together and textures together, and yeah, use this as our sort of go-to space. So I thought it was a really nice thing to show you, because well, it gets my creative juices flowing. So yeah, I thought it's worth showing. But now I'll show you the scene that we've created. Taking inspiration from what Sarah's mentioned about the layout of the shop and how she approaches something like this, as well as building on our idea of the character, the way that we've built this is first up by adding base layers, so things like the furs, this silk here, and then building on those base layers with things like the glass jars and some of the plants. And the reason for those overall is that we're trying to draw the eye in to the middle here. So the camera is going to be from this angle down here, looking that way. So there's height here that sort of hopefully will draw your eye down. Plus the idea at the moment, we haven't set this up yet, get to that in a second, is that we've used some of the darker tones in this area so that it hopefully will soften the what's out of focus right behind where the wand will be. Also, what we've done, which I love, add smoke to anything and it just makes it look so much nicer. So there's a couple of different incense sticks going, as well as a beeswax candle, just to add a bit of atmosphere. It adds a depth, it adds a feeling, it adds a taste to your photograph. And then it's just been filled in with different bits and pieces that we feel like the character that we've got on our mind. So this one's more of a forager, a natural crafter. Yes, they're, you know, a witch, a wizard in this fabricated world that they live in, but they're still someone that might make baskets and forage for things and make their own cordage out of their magical beast named Echo. And the only other thing to note is the lighting. So I'm going to change the lighting now. The one thing that we quite like is this light here is going through. Another reason why we chose the lights is because the glass jars, why we chose those is because it adds a nice element. And we are going to stick with, there's a little bit lighting up the background, that's going to stay. However, I don't like this, but the reason I put this here is because we've got a bit of a challenge. I was originally going to do like dark and moody lighting, but because there's a huge window here, it's going to make it difficult. There are ways that we could get around that, but we can't just block up the windows. So therefore I'm going to kind of lean into that. And also because I do want to see what's behind, part of this scene is about using the shop to our advantage. I'm going to kind of lean into that. However, after setting this up, and the reason the lights are there is because they're meant to be emphasizing the light coming from the window. Meh, I don't really like it. So the plan now is to play around with these lights, get everything set up, and then really, once we have the shot, we're probably just going to be swapping wands out because it's now about 6:30 and we probably won't finish too much later. So once we have set everything up, probably just going to swap out wands, maybe swap out a few props here and there and just take a load of photographs. First of all, I need to figure out how I'm going to do the lights. Main thing I think is I'm just going to turn a whole bunch of them off and make it a bit more moody. Right, let's get started. So, all finished. I've really enjoyed doing this. As with so many creative projects, at the start we were like, oh, we're going to do a flat lay and we're going to do maybe 2 different scenes, a scene over here and a scene over here, and then you get all carried away. And what was it at the start that I said? Which one do I do? Jump in or have a lot of planning and think about it?
That was too long ago. It was yesterday.
Yeah. Let's not even think about that. That was at the start of the video. So we just kind of delved in, created something that was brilliant and really enjoyable to create, just thinking about all these different things. And yeah, I'm quite happy with how it ended up, because the idea being that we've created this scene, this character, their environment, and like the shop itself. And I hope, like, you know, yourselves have felt from some of the thinking behind when you're creating a scene like this. It's about escaping within that just as much as it is for the viewer and for someone visiting the shop or looking at the images, as it is for you to create that scene.
Yeah.
What do you think? Does that just sound like nonsense?
No, maybe, but so what? It was good fun. Yeah, it was fun to play with you with these good toys.
Yeah, excellent.
So yeah, I had a blast and we came away with some good stuff, I think.
Hopefully. Yeah. I think so. Tell us what you guys think, because this is definitely not a generic style, especially of prop photography. A lot of the time it's, especially nowadays, I think it's very quite modern, quite sleek, that you'll see so many people take pictures of cans of drink and then behind it is just a coloured background and that's it. This is very much not that, you know, we're creating a scene. I'm really interested in that, you know, we're saying we're sort of both kind of maximalist, the way we like to see
more
things.
More is more.
Yeah, so tell us, do you agree? Do you disagree? And if so, why? Please comment down below. Otherwise, Sarah, please tell everyone where, if they either want to come visit or maybe obviously what we've been taking photos of, if you are interested in buying something.
My shop is in downtown Llandovery. It's 17 Market Square, just off the square. I'm open from Tuesdays through Saturdays, pretty much all the day long, and you're welcome to come in here. If you'd rather order something online, including some of the stuff that you've seen here, certainly this is from my shop largely, but other stuff you can find on my Etsy store, which is HIRAETH Gallery UK on Etsy, and you can check it out that way too. So, but come on down, I'll make you a cup of tea.
Otherwise, for myself, again, the pictures that I've taken of, the wands, are going to be on sale. So if you're even a free member or a paid member for our Patreon, it will be available to people on Patreon for a little bit less for, I'm thinking, about a month. And then I also have a great alternative Etsy page, which they're then going to go up on the Etsy page at a slightly increased rate after about a month, I think. I haven't decided yet. And also, if you want to support us, go on Patreon, please. You know, it helps having days like today. We're not getting paid for today. This is purely just for the fun of it. So in a way, hopefully the products sell and then it gets to do more days like this. Or if you want to support us, that'd be grand. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this, you might enjoy watching how I made some of these ones. Not this one. This one. So I'll leave you with the video where I made some of these ones. Thanks again, everyone.
Right.
Cheers. See you in the next one.
Ciao.